Hello everyone and welcome to a very cold Saturday morning in Windsor. We are here for the 2025 Dash for Cash at Greater Sydney Kart Club, wherein we are the premier class and the winner will win $1,500, second place $1,000 and third place $500, so a big weekend. Now jumping straight into practice on some very used tyres from Newcastle last weekend. Pace was not too bad, especially in practice sessions before the official practice. And as you can see, not too bad, only about 0.2 off the leader's pace, which on old tyres is quite good. And then jumping straight into qualifying. Qualifying in this session did not matter as much because as we were the premier class, we would have a top 10 shootout wherein the top 10 qualifiers would have a lap to themselves to put down the best time. And so this was my fastest lap from that qualifying session. It was pretty tidy, although I did have a slower driver in front of me, but I managed the gap and managed to put down a pretty quick time compared to other drivers. And you can see that time here, only slightly behind Saxton Smith, who was another very fast driver this weekend. And now it was only a small 20-minute break until the top 10 shootout, where we would only get half a lap to warm up our tyres, and then we would have to set down the fastest lap we could possibly do in that time, and whatever time we did would result in our grid position for the first two races. And here I am being let out for the warm-up lap, and I have to try and get as much temperature into these tyres as possible within this half a lap. So I'm just weaving, trying to light up the rears, push the fronts, do everything I can to get temperature into these tyres, because usually we get a full formation lap to warm up the tyres before any kind of racing, but here we are, going onto the main straight. Turn 1, take it pretty calm and tidy. Turn 2, pretty good. Try to turn in for turn 3. The back end slides quite a lot, and I've lost a lot of time there, at least 5/10. Now to fast 4, and then to prepare yourself for the braking of turn 5. Turn it in, pretty tidy on the curb though, lost a bit of time there. Turn 6, turn 7, Dunny corner, take that pretty well, but this lap has already been ruined on the third turn. This part, just trying to do damage limitations, keep it as quick as possible, and it results in a pretty slow time of a 38.8. And then we go straight into heat 1. So trying to follow number 27 as closely as I can, although I kind of get a bit jumped by all the guys on the left. I'm not sure if they jumped the start or not, but pretty slow reaction time from the right side, and I get passed by Saxon there, so not the best start at all, and we kind of follow him the whole race, and as we watch him go for a move and slide out a bit, and I thought he was definitely going for a spin there, which is why I braked. And then pretty much the exact same thing happened, where he almost spins and I try and go around him, but then he keeps the position. So that was heat 1. That was pretty much the whole race, just sat behind Saxon, not finding a way to get past because we're both quicker drivers down the field. So obviously finishing not where we wanted to be this weekend at all with the pace that we had. We were so close to the leaders, and it's all just fallen away really in that first heat, and it's so hard to overtake here. So once you fail one heat, then it affects the next one, and this is heat 2. Get a decent start again, try and push 27 through on the 49, but it doesn't work. And then another person's alongside me, and that's Ashton Cedars, who's just overtaken me in the 19. But we're going to try and pick up any places we can here, following 27. Can't really do much here. Tried to cover off the person behind me because they were going for a move there. And then I go to turn into Dunny corner, and I see somebody on my inside, and he hits my side pod, and I lose 3 positions just like that. Almost got overtaken by another person, luckily defended it there. So then we're really just doing damage limitations here, trying to pick up any places we can. Well, they go off by themselves. Bit of a brake issue there. But then I'm behind the 77, and I go around the outside there, which was a pretty nice move, but it was just damage limitations this whole race. There wasn't really much I could do after that. The gaps were way too big for me to catch up, and there's a checkered flag. Pretty disappointed race again. Like, I should not be where I was, but a lot of these are my mistakes, and they will only get fixed with experience, really. Just need to compete in more races and iron out these issues. So the camera decided not to work for Heat 3, so we're going straight into Heat 4, so this is on Sunday. Starting in 6th on the outside, so not the best place to be, but if you hold it, you can hold the inside line into turn 2, so it's not too bad. Here we go, getting the launch, trying to follow Ashton Cedars. Launch around the outside, not a horrible start. And now we're behind Lachlan Jeffrey here. Yeah, not too bad of a start. We're up into 5th, well, momentarily. And we're back down to 6th as the 27 goes by. I have to defend there. So then I have to defend again, coming into there. And now we try and settle into this race, but and I'm trying to still, I believe I should be on that podium, so I'm trying to pick up any places I can, looking for where they're slow, looking for where I'm fast. And coming out of here, I see they kind of fight a bit, they make a bit of a mistake, and I get a bit of a run with 27. Try to go for it, and didn't go too well, and I lost a lot of positions, and I was down to, I think, 13th maybe. So yeah, not exactly where I wanted to be, especially after such promising signs of pace. I mean, I've been fastest in all of the races so far except for one, and so not exactly where I wanted to be. But now we are driving mad, and that's when I drive the fastest, and I caught a lot. I'm going to catch up to these guys, number 5. Just looking for a way to get by him, because I'm quite a lot quicker at this stage in the race. And it's a bit of a bad run. I try and look for a move into turn 4. Can't get it done, but then I have a run on the straight. And I decide I'm just going to dive on him. And I send it, get a bit sideways, but I do make it stick. And then I keep my eyes forward, and I'm looking to the next person to overtake, and that is number 81. He takes a lot of curb there, which I noticed he was doing the whole race, which is pretty weird. And then I get a good run on him coming onto this straight, try and do the same move that I did on lap 2, and I actually make it stick this time, even though I did slide past a little bit. So good moves, but it was for like 11th place, so like, but however, I did actually get the lap record in this race. This was on the last lap. I take a lot of speed in turn 1 and 2, a lot of speed into 3, and then launch out, a lot of speed through 4. It's just a really, really tidy lap. Into 5, I brake late and get the perfect amount of rotation. 6, really good, just a little bit of sliding. 7, very nice, good launch out. Missed the curb there, hit the curb a little bit there, hit the curb a little bit there, and then pin it to the finish line. And that was the final lap of the race, so you can see I'm not very happy with that finishing position. But I didn't know that that was actually the lap record. So I'm happy about the lap record, not too happy about the race though. I did end up finishing in 11th, as you can see. Again, obviously with the fastest lap, but that's no consolation for me. I feel like I should definitely be up with the leaders at this stage. So, waiting for a long time for the final. Somebody didn't have their car ready on the grid. But my mindset was that I was just going to pick up any position I possibly could and, see what happens. I was starting 7th, so not too bad of where I'm starting. I mean, it could be a lot worse. It could be 16th that's last place. So it's better than nothing, you know. If I had 3 DNFs and I was starting 16th, I'd think, yeah, it's probably time to go home. But in 7th, I still have a chance, and you can see we're forming up here, and I'm just thinking, like, if they start fighting, I could still be on for a podium, even a win. It's just I need to take the opportunities as they come. And you'll see I tried to do that as much as I could in this race. Also focusing on the start this time, because my starts have been atrocious so far this round. And here we go, getting into the tram tracks, following number 27. The lights don't go out, but every single race we've accelerated early. Number 78 comes across quickly to cover me. And then there's a bit of carnage. Somebody's lifted up. There's grass going everywhere. I pick up, I think, 1 spot from that. Maybe 2. But now I'm following Lachlan Jeffrey, and he's also a very fast driver. Me and him were the fastest in this race. So I know I could follow him through very easily on all of these people, and we could easily get up to lead, even though it is seeming to disappear a bit now. That 3 group up ahead, they are drawing out a bit of a gap to us because of this driver in front of Lachlan. So we're just going to follow Lachlan here, jump to forward a lap, and I think he's going to try something here on Ashton Seaton. So we're following him down through 4. He decides he's going to make a move here, and I try and follow him through, and then I dart to the inside to follow him through, and that's a position picked up. So we can really just follow Lachlan through on all these people, and if we need to fight later, we can fight later, but there's a long time to go in this race. So, so I'm sitting behind him. He goes for a move on another person, and they get a bit of a bad run. I catch up a bit, and then coming into 5, I catch up a lot because he hits the grass there, and then I'm really close to him, and I decide to send it into here. I almost accidentally make a double overtake, but Lachlan Jeffrey's quick enough out of that corner, so there we go. We're up into 4th, I believe, and we're trying to catch these 2 leaders who have not been fighting yet. They've just been driving around, you know, not wanting to fight each other and to create a gap. And Lachlan looks back and he sees who's behind him, and he says, let's work together and catch these 2 leaders. So I decided to agree with him, and eventually we do actually catch the 2 leaders, as you can see here. We are on the tail of them, and anything could happen here. Like, I could go for the win, I could do anything. As long as they start fighting, then anything could be on here. So Lachlan goes for a move at 5, doesn't quite make it stick. I dart to the inside, pretty much the exact same overtake I did on Ashton, and get it done on him. So now we're leading Lachlan Jeffrey, and we're trying to catch 2nd place. But then coming into the 2nd last corner, I get a bit of a bump here from behind, and then number 27 goes through, which is fair. You're allowed to do it, but we lose that place. So we're off the podium now, and trying to claw our way back on, but it's going to be very difficult. This field is incredibly close, all within, I think, 3/10 or something. It was the top 6, something insane like that. And so it was going to be pretty hard to find the pace to pass him without anybody fighting. And as you can see, I do have the pace here, but I run into the back of him a bit, and that makes him build a bit of a gap to me, which is unfortunate. But coming on to some of the final laps now, and still trying to find that podium, and the 2 leaders still aren't getting away. So I feel like if they had battled, it would have been a completely different story. But here we go, we're following these 2, and you can see there's a lapped cart up ahead, which will come into play very soon. But we're following these guys, trying to stick with them and trying to make a move. We're going to try and carry all of our speed into this corner, make a similar overtake into Dunny corner. Can't get it done. So we're trying to look for any opportunity we can to go for this move, and time's running out quickly, and you can see Zach up ahead has caught the lapped cart, and they are all going to go through at the same corner at turn 3. I won't get so lucky though, and he doesn't see me, and I try and pull alongside him. He doesn't see me, and he cuts across me and then does that. And I wasn't too happy about this, because this was like the last lap of the race. I was trying to go for that podium, and that didn't help very much. So yeah, we're just trying to catch back up to 27, try and see if we can get a move done, but the race is all but over at this point. There's almost no chance unless they start fighting extremely hard. But yeah, that was the race. It was a good race. I did think I drove pretty well, but disappointing weekend. I should have at least been on the podium, definitely fighting for wins. But that's the way it is. Another fastest lap, so fastest lap in all but one race across the weekend, so not too bad in terms of pace. But yeah, the racecraft and decisions on starts and stuff like that just did not go my way, and yeah, that's the weekend wrapped up. Thanks for watching.